All right, welcome to Off the Grid Investing. I am Jamison Manwaring, co-founder and CEO of Neighborhood Ventures, and we're located here in Central Phoenix at the Grid, which is a co-work space on 7th Street in Camelback. And because we're here, we have the opportunity to meet a lot of startup companies, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business leaders. So our Off the Grid Investing podcast, we have the opportunity to bring some of these folks in and talk to them. And so we're excited today to have Jessica Jackson, and I'll give you a bit of an intro and then tell folks a bit about you. And then also we have Grayson Lupus, who's always with me on this podcast as well. And Grayson, why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Grayson Lupus. I am an aspiring entrepreneur. I'm working with Jamison at Neighborhood Ventures, digital marketing, social media, stuff like that.
So Grayson's a little bit of a genius when it comes to social media. So he downplays it, but he's really good at that stuff. And we're happy to have him on our team. He's also very entrepreneurial. And then today we're excited to have Jessica with Effortless Vacation Rentals. So these are the folks who manage short-term rentals like Airbnb, VRBO, and they've started this business within the last year. We're working with them on our country club project, so they're managing several of our units. So we wanted to have her come in and tell us a little bit about what this journey's been like the last year. And so welcome to the podcast, Jessica.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great to have you. And I will say you are a good multitasker because you have two kids at home.
Yep.
What, 14 and 12 or 11?
Almost 12, 11.
And you have one on the way.
Yes.
Due in a couple weeks.
Due in a couple weeks. We're starting over.
So, so when you started this business, was that started before you had the baby on the way or after? Because it seems like a lot all on the same time.
Yes. So I think we decided to start it about 2 months before we knew the baby was on the way.
Well, good. So life happens. So
Yep. Here we are. We're excited.
So how did you first get into it then? How did you first get into like the management business?
So I've been a realtor in the Valley for 6+ years and always interested in vacation rentals and just kind of decided to take a dive into it, see what it was all about.
So you were a realtor?
Yes, I am still.
You're active realtor still?
Yes.
Then? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and to be a property manager, you were a licensed realtor, and not in Arizona, but another state. But to be a property manager, you have to be a licensed realtor.
Oh, okay.
There are some properties, in order to manage their short-term rentals, they require you to be a realtor because sometimes those leases are long-term also. So there's some properties that do long-term, short-term. Yeah. So they just say, you need to be a licensed real estate agent. But
I remember that in my course that I did. I got my real estate license in Washington right when I turned 18. I was like excited and pumped up, but then I realized it actually takes work to do the rest of it. And so I was like, oh, shoot.
It doesn't just fall into your lap.
I thought once you got that real estate license, the commissions just come in.
I mean,
the license is the hardest
10K
part.
A month just comes in your pocket. I was like, this is going to be easy.
People just flock to you to want to buy homes and sell homes.
How long have you been a realtor in Phoenix?
7 years.
Okay. So you've had a good run, a lot of transactions. Are you full-time, part-time, or have you done a little bit of both?
I feel like I'm full-time, but I get to also be a full-time mom. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So that's a lot then.
So
it's worked out well. But it's a job that offers flexibility in order to do that.
The best flexibility.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would.
Unless a client wants to go look at a house on a Sunday or a Saturday, then.
Or my summer vacation. Yeah. Sometimes it happens.
So especially if it's a big client, then you have to.
So what business? How long ago did you start the management?
We started this just last year. Yeah, in 2021.
Okay, so far, which one do you think you like more, like time-wise? Like, where do you like spending your time? Realtor or management? Which one seems more fun?
Okay, that's a great question. I feel like the management is so new that it's so much work up front to get it going. It's like starting a new business.
Yeah.
And the real estate is now working, it just works in my life.
Yeah.
Which one do I enjoy more? I don't know. It's hard. I love real estate because I connect with my clients and I get to know them on a personal level. And then I love the management piece because I find it exciting. Yeah. Something new. There's always something new.
Yeah, and tell us a bit about the startup experience. What has this been like to start this business, because it is different. When you're a real estate agent, you basically get the license, you go find a broker who will work with you. Sometimes you work with a team, so you can, at least getting in the business, you can start working with folks, doing open houses. But it's kind of a set path, you know. When you start a new business, Wild West, everybody can do it different. So what's the last year been like doing this new business?
So the last year has been so fun because I walked into it not really knowing a ton and deciding that I was going to learn and read everything about it. So I feel like I've grown immensely in problem solving, because I think that's a lot of the management aspect of things. Excited about finding pockets where the vacation rentals are booming. There are certain pockets in Arizona that are, or in like the Phoenix area, that are better than others. I feel like it's been such, like I'm back in school almost. Like it's a learning opportunity every day, which is exciting.
Lifelong learner. That's what an entrepreneur is. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when you look at this first year, what are some of the hardest things that you've had to go through, most difficult things that if somebody who's never started a business before just may not be ready for, or they need to get ready for?
I think some of the hardest things is knowing where to put your money at first. I think we've learned to not cut back at first, to put what we want into the vacation rentals, make them the best that they can be, so that people enjoy their experience from the beginning. So I think it's easy to want to cut back and then try to progress forward, but I think it's better to...
Yeah, there's always that hard decision. Do we spend now?
Yes.
You know, whether it's spend more on a higher quality product that could last longer? Do we try to keep it cheap going out, and then maybe we get complaints? That's a hard thing to figure out.
So vacation rentals work a little different than like long-term rentals. So for a vacation rental, do you actually have the manager go, what do they purchase, like the furniture and like is that on the owner, or like what do they do, like upfront costs wise?
Yeah, so it varies, I think.
Depends on what you want to offer.
Yeah, depend on what you want to offer. So we have a homeowner who went and purchased all the furniture for the home, and then we came in and did the finishing touches. So like we did the decor and the accessories.
And you're good at that, so that's helpful.
And I love that piece of it. So
because you see houses all the time, so you know it looks good.
Yes. Yeah. And make it personal, you know, because people love personal touches.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. For an Airbnb, they really do. And I have Airbnbs, and my problem is I am not a personal touch person. But I need, you know, I've stayed in an Airbnb, and I got there, and it was just so unique. And they had a thing of cookies there for me. They had a handwritten note.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, this place is cool. And then I know with mine, they're nice, you know, and they're good locations, but those little touches are kind of hard for me, at least. And then going back to Grayson's question, when you go to outfit a unit, how do you figure out the budget? And what are you spending about on, you know, a house versus, I know with our property at Country Club, which you're managing a bunch of those units, a little smaller unit. Those are like 1 bedrooms or studios. What all you buying? Because you also have to buy the kitchen stuff.
Yes. Yeah. So it can become overwhelming really fast. I think we decided we kind of outfitted the first couple ones at Country Club a little over the top, probably, and realized we needed to cut back on what we were spending.
Like what were some of the things?
Like buying an entire cookware set when they don't need 9 pieces of cookware, you know?
Yeah.
And so now we try to supply the more basic necessities of a short-term rental. A lot of our guests stay for 3 to 5 days. A lot of them go out to eat, so they're not needing everything.
Yeah.
So just kind of like pinpointing that budget to what fits, and then also reading back people's feedback, because they'll let you know. And like, hey, there wasn't enough, you know, ladles or anything that they want in the kitchen, they'll let you know. And if we hear it back a couple of times, then we go ahead and add those to the unit.
In the short-term business, that's the huge benefit, is you get immediate feedback.
Yes.
And as long as you act on it, you can bring your scores way up and people are happy.
Yeah, and customer service is the key.
It is.
To getting good reviews, to having people happy, even if there's problems. and you respond to them and you work with them, they are happy.
So do you see like the Airbnb and short-term rental business, do you see it going up from here? Or do you think it was kind of a spike because COVID and then COVID is slowly going away so people want to travel more? Like, do you see this business going up and, kind of becoming more popular in the future, or kind of staying where it's at? Or
No, I feel like people love to have private accommodations. Like I see it going up, especially in Arizona, in the Phoenix area.
Yeah.
It's a huge market. I mean, Airbnb just came out with some data that we're the third most profitable short-term rental for first, people getting into it at the beginning.
In the Phoenix market?
Yeah.
For owners it is?
Yeah, for anyone trying to, management or owners wanting to get into the vacation rental business. I think because we have people that come back year after year after year, we have longer term stays, which helps, it just helps your market when people want to stay for longer than 3 days. They're staying for 21 days or 25 days.
Yeah.
So I see it going up.
Yeah, and what's interesting is, there's a bunch of smaller apartment buildings in Phoenix that were built in the 60s and 70s, and originally they were built as short-term rentals for the snowbirds that would come here.
Yeah.
Then in the 80s and 90s, as more people moved here, we converted them to apartments, long-term rentals. And at that time, we built the big resorts. The Phoenician, Biltmore, all these big resorts came in, and people wanted to stay at the resorts instead of these little units. So the little units turned into long-term apartments. Everyone stayed at the resorts. Now, the resorts are still doing okay. But now it's kind of gone full circle, and people want a more unique experience where it's not a big resort necessarily. And I think COVID actually drove that even more, where you're in a big resort, you're sharing the same air as all the bedrooms because it's on one air system. Where if you have your one unit, it's just that.
That's definitely changed what I've even seen like with my family. It's like I've had to like sort of convince my parents to do more Airbnbs over the past like 2 years-ish. Like anytime we go anywhere, we'd always like, they just go straight to a hotel. And like a hotel's nice. Yeah. But it's so much nicer to have your own house or your own unit or whatever it is.
Yeah. And so, I mean, if you go to a hotel, you got one room.
Yeah. No kitchen most of the time.
Yeah, no kitchen. You got your parents maybe in one bed, and then you and your sister have to share
and you're
another
like
bed.
next to each other. Yeah.
Whereas, so it's not comfortable. Now you go to a house or a condo that's 2-3 bedroom. You can have a little bit of space, bathroom, kitchen. You can cook a little bit in the morning.
Yeah. And now they only look at Airbnbs. When they want to go stay somewhere, it's like, now we only look at Airbnb.
Yeah, especially at the country club property is cool because over 80% of vacation rentals in the Phoenix market are homes. So it's a much smaller market for these smaller condos,
one
apartments.
Or two individuals.
Yeah, and people are wanting that because they don't want to pay the price per night for a whole home.
Yeah,
but they also don't want to be in these local hotels.
Yeah.
Because if you come to Phoenix like by yourself or to come visit somebody else here, you want to stay by yourself. And you don't want to stay in like a full house probably.
And it's so nice if you can just say, hey, I'd love to have you come visit, buddy. There's a nice little Airbnb down the street, and then we can hang out, but they're not sleeping on
And we
your
get
couch.
a lot of those. Hey, I'm coming in to visit family.
Yeah.
The
big change was with Airbnb, they created a distribution platform for all of these vacation rentals. So before Airbnb, VRBO was around for a long time. And Airbnb came in and ate VRBO's lunch.
Yes.
VRBO had a 10-year head start. And some people used it and kind of...
I use it every once in a while.
Yeah, every now and then.
Yeah.
And then Airbnb came and just crushed the market, started just taking market share because they had a superior way to show the units, to vet the units, to make sure people had good experiences.
So
and now they've
user-friendly.
Yeah.
They leapfrogged VRBO, even though they had a 10-year head start. But what it's done for owners, short-term rental owners, is now you have a way to not have to build your own website to try to get people to stay there. You don't have to advertise. All you do is put your listing there, and the people come, and you pay a small fee to Airbnb. Think of before this, if you wanted to do short-term rentals, and there are a lot of people that do this, especially in vacation areas like Rocky Point or Puerto Vallarta. If you want to do a short-term rental, you had to advertise a lot. you had to try to get that repeat business. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
like have social media accounts for the
a whole different
property.
There wasn't even the internet, right?
Oh, I'm thinking too far.
You're passing flyers out at the.
You are. Yeah. And those did
Yeah.
exist, right? But you had to build all your own demand of people interested to stay there. Now Airbnb comes around and they provide that distribution for you as an owner, so you can just focus on being a really good owner. And you don't have to worry about the clients. The clients kind of come in.
Yeah, it's been the best platform. I mean, going back to the first question, I was so worried about learning it. How am I going to learn Airbnb in the different platforms? And they have so many resources on there for you. They teach you. They have classes you can take, and then it is the easiest platform I've ever used.
Yeah. Hey, and one question I want to go back to: if you look at the kitchen and then the different things you've tried, what is the one or two things are must-haves in a kitchen that make people really happy? What do you need to have in there?
Cookware. So like saucepans and larger size. They don't like anything small. They want a larger size saucepan. Okay. And they want coffee cups, mugs. Not disposable.
And probably a
real
Keurig,
mug.
I'm guessing.
Yes, the
So
Keurig.
You got to do the coffee. You got to do Keurig.
You have to have the coffee.
Keurig is so much easier than old school coffee pot where you have an old school maker. He's got the little cup.
Yes, people love that we do the Keurig, and they love that. And so those are so important. But I was surprised with how many people want the cookware, like the pan and all the things for the stove.
Yeah.
We get constant requests for those.
So it sounds like you spend a little bit more on kind of making it personalized. And then you said some of the areas where you may have overspent initially and you didn't need to was with, the gourmet cookware sort of stuff. Don't need that. That makes sense. But that's some of the stuff you don't learn until you get going. Is there any specific areas where you'd tell somebody, make sure you spend in this area? Whether that's, pillows, that's wall decor. What would you say?
Bedding. We put in nice bedding. So we do an encasement around all of the mattresses and box springs, which I think you have to have that. Yeah. Keeps away bed bugs, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then we invest in our sheets and we do white duvet comforters, easy to wash. Yeah. And our pillows. And people always tell us how comfortable the bed is.
So they comment on that. They write the feedback. That's big.
Yeah. So that's where I would say spend the most. Yeah. Because that's a lot of times they may not even be hanging out in the vacation rental during the day, but they're always there at night. Yeah. And so make their sleeping arrangements great.
Yeah, that makes sense.
One thing I've always noticed is that I really notice when a place has either enough towels or not enough towels.
Yes.
And I'm always frustrated. Like when I go to wash my face and there's like 2 hand towels and I use one.
Well, and then you have to do the hand towels too. So you got regular towels, you got hand towels, you got face cloth.
So you do all the towels too then?
We do all the towels, and the towels are our biggest, what's the perfect number? I don't know if we've found it yet. Yeah. In our homes, we've found it. Yeah. But in our apartments, condos, you don't want to supply them with all of the towels in the world, one for every day.
No, you don't. Yeah.
Because then you have to remember the cost of laundry on that. Yeah. And then we supply, if it's a 1 bedroom with a bed, we supply 2 towels, 2 hand towels, 2 washcloths. If it's a 4-person room, then it's 4 towels, 4 bed or 4 washcloths, 4 hand towels. But sometimes people want more,
But if you give them too many, they'll use them.
Yeah, they'll use them. Yeah. They'll use all of them. And then that goes into your costs at the end of the day because you have to launder those.
And it's a little different than a hotel, right? Because you don't go in between nights and fix, let's say someone sleeps there and then they go out during the day. You don't go in and fix up the bed, right?
Correct. No, we don't. And I feel like that's something that sometimes you have to address because people, if it's their first time staying at an Airbnb kind of like Country Club is.
It's like a hotel kind of.
They think that, they may think, we get the extra services. Yeah. And so sometimes we have great discussions. No one's ever mad about it, but, oh no, we don't come in and do turn down service or anything like that.
Right.
But it's also a plus because then you kind of have your own personal space sometimes.
They have their own space.
No
and
one's coming in.
And if they're long-term, we offer additional cleanings at an extra cost.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're like staying there for the whole month, we will come in at a certain cost and change their sheets and their bedding.
Every 2 weeks or every,
yes.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Then I think I'd like that. You know, if you're staying there for a month, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you don't have like access to probably a washing machine, so you want
sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
Right. And we look at that. So if we have long-term, we do supply them with extra towels and things like that. It's just something you have to keep up with.
So I want to go a little bit more high level here as we close this out, but these details are really important for anybody interested in this business and just interested in entrepreneurship in general. You have to get in the details if you're going to have a great business. And it's obvious you jumped into all of those, and the devil's always in the details, so you have to jump into that. But now stepping back a little bit, so at this point, you know, you're 7-8 months into the business. How many units do you manage, and do you kind of track that, and do you have a goal for how many you want to manage, or you know, how do you think about
it? So we have we manage about 30 at the country club property, and then we manage a home. And I say that, you know, probably get to 40 units.
At what point do you have to hire people? Is that
do you guys have any employees yet, or is it just you?
We don't have any employees yet. So I think anything like 40 plus, we need help, you know, especially with the baby on the way.
Oh yeah.
Well, they don't help a lot, do they? They're not going to pick up the slack.
Maybe your 14-year-old.
But your time is taken with customer service.
Right.
And I think that's the most important part of the job. I mean, I have a response rate within 2 hours.
Yeah, because they track all that, right?
They track all of that, and you have to respond within 24 hours to keep a good rating. I have a 5 out of 5 rating because I respond so quickly, and people appreciate that. People are always like, "Oh, thank you for responding so quickly." So that eats up most of the time. It's just being available to people's questions and things of that nature.
But you're doing it the right way, where you got to figure out the business. You got to be in it for a while, and then you can hire folks as you need to.
Yes.
But sometimes folks hire somebody initially and delegate all the work to them, especially if you're trying to start a business that you want to grow.
And then you don't know.
And you don't know what's going on.
It's like the phrase, hire when it hurts.
And then you're spending that money.
You're not in control of everything that's happening, and you're not learning your own business if you're not doing it all up front.
But now as you get there, you can say, okay, maybe we stop at 40 or 50 units, because hiring somebody adds additional complexity. Or as you grow, you bring on someone, and you can now say, now we can go up to 100 units, or whatever you want to do. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the goal. I think so far, I mean, it's been amazing. We've been loving it, and it's something we want to continue to grow and get more properties on. So I would say I've loved it. It's been fun.
Great. Well, we're super happy to have you on.
Thank
today.
you for
Thanks
having
for
me.
Coming in. Yeah. Good luck with the baby in a few weeks.
Thank you.
And we'll have to have you on again here in like 6 months to a year. Now you know, and you can bring the baby with you and tell us where the business is at that point.
Hopefully it'll grow, right?
Thank you.